I want to talk now about how to do a SQL delete from the database. And just like everything else, all of the SQL is performed, all the SQL commands are contained in this folder. And I have 3 different commands for doing deletes in the application. I can delete a realm, a champion skin, or a champion. And they're all similar. These are general purpose commands. They can delete, for this one, for example, can delete a champion or multiple champions, all depending upon how you configure it. And all you have to do is provide properties. So let's look at the header first. Just like all the other SQL commands, the initializer is the same. You need to provide it with a database and a statement builder. And the database is what the SQL is executed through, and the statement builder is a helper class that will generate a delete statement for you, given a table name and an optional where clause, which is called a selection. So if we look at the implementation here, it's very simple as well. I set the table to the champion table because I know I'm deleting from the champions, and then the superclass does all the heavy lifting for me. So if we look at that, execute delete, it uses the statement builder to build a delete statement passing along the table and the selection. Now the selection can be nil, and if it's nil, there will be no where clause generated by the statement builder. If it's not nil, it will generate a where clause based upon whatever you set as your selection. And the selection is just what will get generated as the where clause. So if there are selection arguments, those are values that get bound into the parameter markers at runtime, at execution time. Then I use the database's execute update passing the SQL string that was generated here, and I pass along my selection arguments, which are an array of arguments that get bound into the parameter markers that are inside the SQL statement. If there are none, then I don't have any to pass along, and I execute a simpler form of the execute update statement where it does not accept any arguments. As with an insert or any other type of update, I return how many rows were affected by that delete. So if I deleted 1 row, this would answer 1. If I deleted 1,000, this would answer 1,000. When you execute a delete or an update or a select, you can optionally pass along a selection property, and when you do, you'll often also specify Selectionargs. And these are just properties that are declared here in the superclass, the base class for all SQL commands, selection and Selectionargs. I'm not going to go into great detail about what the format of these are. That will be the subject of some other videos when I talk about the content provider.